Hi guys, and welcome to another episode of Kabir Considers. In this video, we're going to react to 15 taboo questions you should never ask when you're in the United States. Now, I find this sort of thing really interesting because for me personally, and I'm guessing for a lot of you guys as well, there's very few questions that I probably wouldn't answer. Even if we'd recently met, there's been many times where I'll be in a pub or something like that, and you just randomly start talking to somebody. You have a few drinks, and you're telling them really quite intimate details about your life. I don't really mind that. I'm quite an open book, but I guess different cultures have different customs, different rules. I wonder what's going to make this list. I'm guessing politics, possibly, because obviously it's quite polarized, quite volatile, some of the discussion in the States. But I'm trying to think of I can't think of 14 other things that would be taboo to discuss.
Hi, I'm Vanessa from SpeakEnglishWithVanessa.com. Be careful what you say. Let's talk about it.
All right, let's go.
When you have conversations with people from other cultures, it's really important to be respectful of that person's culture.
Absolutely.
Of course, when we're talking with people from our own culture, we should be respectful too. But it's a little bit more complicated when we're talking with people from different backgrounds, because maybe you don't know which topics are acceptable to talk about or which topics are taboo. Taboo means that if you talk about that topic in the wrong context, people will feel really uncomfortable. It's inappropriate, it's just not polite. So today I'd like to help you learn 10 questions that you absolutely should not ask in American culture. Okay. These topics might be okay if you're talking with someone who you're really, really close to, but that's not really the situation that we're talking about here. For this lesson, we're gonna imagine 3 situations. Number 1, you run across someone that you know at the grocery store. Don't ask these questions.
Okay, so just an acquaintance, really. So you're not really just not even a friend, just somebody you know.
Or you are talking with a coworker in the office. Don't ask these questions. Or maybe you're going out for coffee with a new friend or a coworker or someone you don't know that well. Don't ask these questions. Let's go to...
I'll be like, how many kids do you have? Yeah, no, I get it. There's some things that you should probably wait until you're, closer, I guess.
Our first topic in question. Topic number 1 is politics.
Right.
The main questions that you should not ask are, who are you voting for, or who did you vote for? So this just depends when the election was, if it was in the past, or if it's going to be in the future.
But
even though this year is a presidential election year in the US, and if you turn on the news, you'll see so much information about this, we don't really talk about our personal voting choices unless it's with really, really, really close friends. On the other hand,
why?
Americans love bumper stickers and yard signs. So you might see on the back of someone's car, Biden, or on the back of someone's car, Trump, or a sign in someone's yard that says something similar about who they're voting for. But even if someone has a bumper sticker or a sign in their yard, they probably don't want to debate you about who you should vote for or who they're voting for.
Fair enough.
Usually this is still considered an inappropriate topic to ask about. Topic number...
But we're all, we should be able to discuss, politics and altering views without things, becoming tense and awkward. Why can't we just have civil conversations about stuff like that? I wouldn't mind if anybody... I've got friends who vote differently than me. We're still friends. In one case, he's a really, 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 really good friend of mine. What's the big deal?
Number 2, family. Are you married? Why not? Do you have kids? Why not? Are you pregnant? These topics are considered personal, especially if it's somebody who you've just met. I know that these types of family questions are considered no problem in other cultures, but in the US, these are personal and sensitive. Imagine this situation. Someone really wants to have kids
Right.
and they've been trying to have kids and they can't. Or maybe they had a miscarriage, which
Yeah,
means that they
fair
were
enough.
pregnant and then the baby died. This is a really sensitive situation. And if you casually ask them, oh, why don't you have kids? Or when are you going to have kids? This really touches something inside of them that's hard to talk about. So unless you are a really, really close friend, I recommend not asking, are you married? Why not? Do you have kids? Why not? Just as a little notice, especially as someone who recently had a baby a couple months ago,
Congrats.
never ask a woman if she is pregnant. Do you know what this means? This means your tummy is visibly big. Well, they could be pregnant, but what if they're not? What if they're just
Yeah, somebody I know basically got offered a seat on a train because they thought she was pregnant. She was devastated. So to be fair, yeah. Oh, how far along are you? How many months? How many trimesters?
just a little bit overweight? Or
Unless
what if
you're
they just
sure.
had a baby and they still have a little tummy? Well, this could be a really uncomfortable situation. I saw a funny quote once that said, never ask a woman if she's pregnant. Even if she is actively in labor, don't ask her until you see the
Really?
baby.
Oh, come on.
Maybe this is a little bit of an exaggeration, but if you ask someone, are you pregnant? You better be
sure.
100%
Yeah.
sure that they are pregnant. And it's a little bit safer to let them bring up this topic anyway. Maybe if you're having a conversation and you see that they're probably pregnant, wait until they say, oh yeah, I've been feeling really tired lately, or I'm feeling the baby's kicks. Okay, now it's a safe topic. Our next
But the danger is if you're on the train and, she looks pregnant, a lady. So what? I shouldn't assume until she says, oh, excuse me, can I sit down? Because that's not a very gentlemanly thing to do, isn't it? Usually you're meant to just offer your seat. So what do you do in that situation?
Next taboo topic is sexuality. If a man mentions something about his boyfriend or a woman mentions something about her girlfriend, do not ask, oh, are you gay? This is the 21st century. It is not shocking, or it should not be shocking, when someone is gay. Just a little quick note. If a man or woman says, my partner, talking about the person who they live with, this doesn't always mean that it's a same-sex partner. It might mean this,
This is
but
true,
it
to
could
be
just mean
fair.
that they are in a committed long-term relationship.
I've noticed that older people they refer to if they're not married, usually they refer to their boyfriend or girlfriend as partner these days. I think it's seen as more like a mature way to describe your girlfriend or boyfriend.
Sometimes if you are living with someone and you are committed to them, you don't want to call them just your boyfriend or your girlfriend. In this way, it's a little bit casual, it's not so serious.
Is it?
So if you are in a same-sex relationship, or if you are not and you just aren't married, well, you could call them my partner. So if you happen to be talking with someone and they say, oh yeah, I need to call my partner and ask them about this. It doesn't mean necessarily that it's a same-sex partner. It might mean that, it might not. But in any situation, it's not polite to say, oh, are you gay? Just take it in stride. Our next taboo
Have you seen that video, the famous one? Why are you... That one.
topic is religion. I don't recommend asking, do you go to church? Or saying, don't do this, it's a sin. Even though the US has a reputation for being potentially more religious than some other countries, it's still not considered acceptable to ask someone what their religion is. Now, Americans will sometimes
Really?
mention, oh, after I went to church, we went to the park. Something about going to church, and it's acceptable to mention it yourself, but not really to ask someone else about it.
Wow.
Where I live in the south of the US, it's generally more religious place, but that's because the majority of people are Protestant Christians. So they expect that everyone else has the same religion, which, is not quite realistic, but, that's the mindset. When my family first moved to the south of the US, the maintenance man who was installing our refrigerator asked my mom, have you found a church yet? We were shocked because in the north of the US, this is not common to talk about. It's
Wow. So in the South, is it that sort of, is it predominantly Christian? Is it basically 90% Christian, 95% Christian, like to the point where anybody you see is like almost likely to be Christian? I've heard that the South is quite religious, but I didn't think it was like, overwhelmingly like Christian.
It's not expected
Is it still
that
like
you
that?
would go to church. And it's especially not expected that you would ask someone about this. So even if you're in the south of the US and someone asks you, I don't recommend you asking yourself because it's a little bit less acceptable. Our next taboo topic is race. I don't recommend asking, where are you really from? Especially when someone...
Yeah, I know you're British, but where are you really from? Where are your parents from?
is obviously from the US. The US is such a diverse place. People come from all sorts of backgrounds, all sorts of types of heritage. Even if it was their great-great-grandparents who moved to the US, a lot of people have different looks, different backgrounds, different cultures, but they are still all American. This question often gets asked to my Asian American friends. So for example, I have a friend who, when I first met her, I thought, oh, she looks Korean, but she didn't have any type of accent. She seemed completely like someone from the US. So I didn't really ask her, are you Korean? That would have been a little bit rude and presumptive.
But could she have, like, would it be polite to say, do you have any like Korean heritage, or like ethnicity wise, what's your background? Would those two questions be rude to ask? Like for me personally, like if somebody said to me, like ethnically, where are you from? Yeah, Nigeria. I would not, for me, this is the thing, it's so personal, isn't it? Like, do you agree with these questions that this lady is saying are taboo, or for you, is it like not really a big deal?
Instead, I just didn't say anything. I didn't even ask her, what's your heritage? This is a slightly more polite question, but only when you're talking about your family's background already. Right. So instead of asking her this, I just thought, it doesn't matter. Why would I need to ask this? And one day when I was at her house, I saw a little picture or painting on the wall with some Korean writing. And I said, oh, cool. I used to live in Korea. Have you been there? I saw that picture in your kitchen with some Korean writing. And she said, oh, my mom was adopted from Korea. This type of situation is extremely common in the US. My friend has pretty much no cultural connection to Korea. Her mom has almost no cultural connection to Korea too, except that she lived there when she was very, very young before she was adopted. So if I had asked my friend, hey, where are you really from? Are you from Korea? She probably would have felt like, I don't belong here.
Yeah, it's true. It's true, to be fair. Man, it's actually like some of these things I would have never considered. I actually feel a bit like, oh my God, I hope I haven't ever said anything, just completely off the cuff. I didn't mean anything by it that's kind of like pissed anybody off,
This isn't my home, but really it is. She is American just like anybody else. So this question can make people feel pretty uncomfortable. I personally recommend waiting until they mention something, or just don't worry about it. Don't ask about it, and if they mention something, cool. If they don't, go with the flow. Our next taboo topic is money. I don't recommend asking, how much money do you make? Or
I'm
how
not sure
much
about
was
this one.
some kind of expensive item, maybe like a car. Sometimes people will add this expression, if you don't mind me asking, before asking about money. I did this a couple weeks ago when my neighbor hired a babysitter, and I was curious how much she charged, or how much the babysitter charged to watch her kids. I didn't really want to directly ask her, hey, how much money did you give the babysitter? So I asked, if you don't mind me asking, can I ask how much she charged? This is very indirect. I'm asking her about the purchase of potentially an expensive thing, some babysitting services, but I'm asking her in an indirect way. When I hired that
Is it that? I would just say, how much did you pay? Like, is that a big deal? Like, me personally, I think we should always, like, when if you're in a job, I think asking your colleagues how much they make and stuff like that, I think it's a good idea, because there's a lot of people get taken advantage of because they don't know how much their colleagues who might be doing the exact same job are being paid. There needs to be more communication, I think, among people regarding salary.
babysitter, I could say, well, how much do you charge? This is very direct. It's fine. This is a business transaction. But when it's someone else who's making that purchase, it's better to use this expression or just not ask at all. We never really ask, how much money do you make? Talking directly about personal income. Yeah, it's not really a popular topic or a comfortable topic. Our final taboo topic is appearance. I don't recommend asking, are you feeling tired today? Oh, you look tired. Are you feeling okay? Did you lose weight? Did you gain weight? Not acceptable. If you're really concerned about someone, maybe one of your coworkers is looking a lot more tired than usual, or maybe you realize that they really lost a lot of weight and you are seriously concerned about them. We don't talk about this in just casual passing conversation. Instead, pull them aside or talk with them privately, and with a lot of care in your heart, you can ask them, hey, I'm a little worried about you. You look kind of a lot more tired than usual the last couple days. What's going on? Are you okay? Did you notice the tone of my voice is very...
My mum would be like, Kabir, you're fat. Why are you so fat? But then again, she's my mum, innit? But even to my mates, if one of them, like I saw my mate Frankie the other day, he'd lost weight. I said, mate, you've lost weight, you're looking trim. But I suppose, yeah, the relationship is already established. I'm sure a lot of you are probably saying that, Kabir, it's because you know them already.
Very serious. This is not casual conversation. You're not just asking because you care. Instead, you are very serious and you are telling them personally. So make sure that if you ask these questions, it is in the correct context with someone who you really care about, not just in passing. A little special note, talking about appearance, especially for men directing comments towards women, I don't recommend saying something so direct as, wow, you look really beautiful. This is usually considered flirting. If you are flirting with them and you want to ask them out on a date, okay, go ahead. But if you're just in the office and you notice, oh wow, you look great today. Be careful being so enthusiastic about it. Wow,
And then you get an email from HR.
wow, you look so beautiful today. Instead, it's considered more polite to compliment maybe
Something in
their
particular.
haircut or their clothes. Oh, did you get a new haircut? It looks great. Wonderful. Or, oh, that's a nice shirt. I love those colors. This is more indirect if you want to compliment someone's appearance, especially for a man directed towards a woman, and you don't want them to feel uncomfortable because you're just coworkers or you're just friends and you're not trying to be romantic towards them. Well, you can compliment them indirectly. Their hair, their clothes, something like this. Actually, that was not the last topic. I got a little distracted because I heard my baby crying, so he's gonna join
The way he's just staring at his mum like...
me for this last taboo topic. We're going to end on a light note. Death. I do not recommend asking, do you think he's going to die soon? Or, I think he's going to die soon.
Yeah, no.
This is too direct, too rude. Yes, death is an essential part of being alive, being a human, being a being, but we do not say it in such direct terms. Instead, if you want to talk about death, you can use a more indirect expression to pass away. You might say, sorry, I was gone from work last week. My grandmother passed away and I had to travel to California for the funeral. In this situation, you're saying pass away, much more polite to say. If someone says this to you, how can you react to show that you care? You can simply say, oh, I'm so sorry, or I'm sorry for your loss. You don't need to go on and on. Those two common polite expressions are really enough. You say it from your heart and you mean it. Now you might be wondering, if I can't talk about all these taboo topics, what can I talk about? Well, really, the possibilities are endless. You could talk about your weekend plans.
Man, I mean, very interesting video, but I don't know whether it's me just getting old or perhaps it's just me considering what she said and comparing it to how I talk to friends and even some strangers, like people at work. I just, a lot of the stuff that she would label as taboo, I probably wouldn't. Like salary, I discuss that openly. I directly ask people that, you know, if we're working in the same role, I'll ask them, what are you being paid? Like, these are people that I've not known for very long. I think we need to do that more because employers rely on people considering salary talk as taboo. That's how they are able to pay people differently and suppress salaries. If everybody knows that, you know, the highest paid person in the same role is being paid 20,000 a year more, you can then go back to the boss and ask them for a raise. But if you don't know that, you're never going to know to ask for the raise. So I think salary should be open book. Things like politics as well. I think if we're not able to talk to each other about politics and stuff, how then can we reach good compromises? You know, discover different perspectives. If you keep everybody kind of just siloed in their own sort of echo chambers, like, I don't know, I don't think it's a good thing. I think we should encourage discussion. Let me know what you guys think. Maybe I'm being too naive. Thanks for watching, guys. If you enjoy my videos, please help me out by liking and subscribing.